So Disney Animation has just wrapped its D23 Expo presentation where they've spotlighted three movies: Zootopia, Gigantic, and Moana. And I think Moana had an opportunity to really break out here. Fifth Harmony fans were just rocking Twitter. Moana was trending at the beginning of the presentation before they even got to Moana because people wanted to hear that announcement, but that announcement did not happen, despite some efforts by fans to get the ball rolling by fake announcing it early. But there was no official announcement made, and the press release that came from Disney only included Dwayne Johnson as the only official talent associated with the film so far. But they only released a logo for Moana. You can see it here. These are the three images that were released. They did a Moana logo with a black background and a white background. That's the most variation we got there. But while they showed some test footage at the panel, nothing was released to the public. And even if it managed to leak, Disney security apparently is quite good at the D23 Expo. They would have aggressively moved to take it down, just like they did with the Luke Skywalker photo that leaked last night. So I couldn't show it to you even if someone did manage to get it up on the internet. But because of the lack of, I think, new news about Moana, we did get some very interesting news about the musical team. I think the breakout movie from the panel actually ended up being Gigantic. Not only because it was semi-new, it's basically the Giants movie, streamlined and made, more in line with the brand that Disney Animation has evolved into, but also because it has some really great story elements to it and a fantastic, as you can see, visual. This is a visual medium. The movie with the best visual release wins, and that's Gigantic. But let's go through them. We'll go, I think, in order of importance. Moana still first because it's something fans are very excited about. Then we'll go to Gigantic, and then, of course, Zootopia, which Disney seems very excited about, but still doesn't seem to be exciting the fan base. All right, so I have my notes here. We'll start out with Moana. Again, no announcement for who will be voicing Moana, although apparently those in attendance did get to see the character, or at least a test version of her. And she is going to have, like every Disney princess before her, animal friends. She will have a pig named Pua, but I have to say they eat quite a large number of pigs. I believe that's a big part of the Hawaiian diet. So I am surprised that she would befriend one and make it a pet. But still, I guess her parents just haven't had that talk with her yet. But then also she has a cranky rooster named Hey Hey. So those are her two animal friends, and they're going to join her on her journey along with the rock's Maui. Apparently Maui was also revealed at the panel, and what's going to happen is they have like some mission to accomplish. So they're going to fight ocean monsters. They very much made the point that the ocean is also kind of like a character in the film, and they're working very hard to realize it in terms of computer animation. I'm sure they'll do a fantastic job. Lava, the short film that played in front of Inside Out, basically some parts of that looked like they were live action and not animated, so I'm sure they'll be able to do a great job with Moana. But then they're going to not only, battle ocean monsters, but go to the ocean underworld, the oceanic underworld, where they'll meet ancient spirits, etc., etc. And so far, it sounds a little bit like a hodgepodge of a lot of Disney movies. You throw some Hercules in there, you've got some Mulan, so we'll see. The music, though, is going to be very, very different because they've put together, I think, a really interesting creative team here, and we'll see how the results go. Sometimes the best ingredients don't always mix together as well as one would like. But Disney Animation is continuing their very successful formula of getting Broadway talent to move over to their animation. That worked obviously quite well with Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, coming from Little Shop of Horrors and their work on the stage to, of course, be behind the Disney Renaissance, in some ways the engine of the Disney Renaissance, particularly Howard Ashman. And then, of course, they had the Lopez's come on board for Frozen, from the Book of Mormon and I believe Avenue Q. So that was obviously a very big deal, and you're going to hear more from the Lopez's momentarily. But here they're bringing in Lin Manuel. Now, Lin Manuel did In the Heights on Broadway, and he's currently in a musical called Hamilton, where he's playing the role of Alexander Hamilton. So there's some ethnicity bending right there, and he's quite the Broadway talent. His star bar only seems to rise higher and higher. And now he's got Disney on his resume, so that's very exciting for him indeed. So Lin Manuel, and he's going to be teaming up with Mark Mancina, who's done a lot of Disney scores like for the lesser pictures. Sorry, like Planes, Fire and Rescue, and Brother Bear, I believe, little movies like that. So he's going to be contributing. But then another real powerhouse is, forgive me if I mispronounce the name, Opatea Foai, and he is the founder of Tavaka, which is apparently a very well-known and highly regarded South Pacific fusion music group. And he closed out the whole Disney animation presentation with a sample of the music he'll be providing for Moana. And apparently they had Hawaiian dancers and all that jazz. All right, so that is the first movie that was profiled. Again, I think it had an opportunity to really be the breakout movie that was profiled. I was going to give it its own video, but just the story, the headlines never materialized. So here's Gigantic. This is what everybody's talking about. It was able to trend on Twitter. All on its own, without any Fifth Harmony fans helping it out. Oh, you guys, Disney should see what you were able to do on Twitter and cast her just for that alone. Because The Rock, also in the movie, is another huge Twitter powerhouse, and together they would be unstoppable. But anyway, Gigantic is obviously Jack and the Beanstalk reimagined, and of course the name goes in line with the current naming trend over at Disney Animation with Tangled, Frozen, and then of course Gigantic. Now, this is a very important story to Disney Animation. There's that famous Mickey and the Beanstalk animated short from early days with the studio, and it's probably, I think, to this date, one of Mickey's most famous appearances. But this is going to be, called, again, it's the Giant story, but now called Gigantic. And it's going to have Tangled's director, Nathan Greeno, and then the Lopez's. This is where they surface again. They'll be providing the music for this film. They provided the music for Frozen, and I think we all know that was really the secret ingredient with that film. And they did also sample a song here called I Love You, Little Man, and that plays into the relationship between the little girl giant and our hero, Jack. So here's the setup, which I think is very interesting. The story is going to take place in Spain. Some people are already saying, from Norway to Spain. But I don't think you really felt the Norwegian heritage that much in Frozen. Just like I think when they take over the Norway Pavilion, it's not going to seem very much like the Norway Pavilion anymore, despite Disney's insistence that it does. But I think if they can really have a strong Spanish flavor and heritage in this film, that would really help. And I love the recent film, The Book of Life, that Guillermo del Toro produced, another animated movie. Very well done. Love the culture that was spotlighted there, and I would like to see Disney do something with that as well. So this little girl giant, it takes place during the Age of Exploration, and Jack is an explorer. So he discovers the world of giants, and they're all different kinds of giants, to make for better toys. But one specific giant he meets is a little girl who's lost named Inma. And Inma is based on a little girl that the filmmakers really did meet in Spain, who told them that she was her people's protector. So they have this idea basically where the giants are supposed to protect humans to some degree. That's still a little bit unclear. But this little girl, Inma, thinks of Jack as a toy. So that's where that song comes from, I Love You, Little Man. And he decides to help her find her way home. So that's what that story is going to be about. People at the panel were saying it sounded a lot like a Pixar movie because it was so emotional. Hopefully not emotionally manipulative. But anyway, I think that it reminds me a lot of Riley that we just went through with Inside Out. So I think there are some similarities, but we'll see how they sort it out and how they make it unique. But it's a real powerhouse in terms of talent there. Now, finally, we're going to wrap up with Zootopia, which, started off the panel, I guess because they knew it wasn't going to generate the kind of headlines the other two films were going to. But the biggest announcement they had there was that Shakira would also be providing a voice, along with Jennifer Goodwin and Jason Bateman, and she would be voicing, as you can see here, a gazelle. And, it's very Shakira-esque. It seems to have raided her closet. And, of course, it has the Shakira hair. And Shakira also is very excited to she tweeted about it as well. Disney is really on point with their social media for D23 today. Very impressive. But anyway, this character is going to have an original song called Try Everything. And so basically they just talked about the film a little bit more. Jason Bateman did not come to the convention, but Jennifer Goodwin was there, probably because she's also going to be talking about Once Upon a Time as well, which she stars on as Snow White for ABC, which of course is also owned by Disney. And this is still seeming a lot to me like the animated version of Reese Witherspoon's recent movie Hot Pursuit, where she played a police officer that was underestimated because of her size, and that's basically the setup here for old Judy Hopps. So we'll see. I still think it's a Richard Scarry homage, not a ripoff, an homage. But we'll see if it's able to connect with fans with the way that it has connected, apparently, with those who work at Disney Animation. So those are the three films that were presented for the Disney Animation as a part of the panel at the D23 Expo. I'm very curious to what you're the most excited about and which films you may think made the best impression. And be sure to stay tuned all weekend for more D23 coverage as it drops. All right, thanks for watching, and you can check out some more coverage right now.